Rouge. This hour brought to you by Spencer Callahan Injury Lawyers, LA 21-12681. Offices in Baton Rouge. Hannytime. Hannytime. A daily look at sports from our resident historian. Your sports break during your lunch break. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios. Here's Charles Hanagriff.
And we welcome you into the Monday edition of Hannytime, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Charles Hanagriff, along with our crew here. Great to see you, Mario Jerez. Jake, good to see you. How's things? You get a nice you get a nice weekend? Everybody all right?
Yeah, things are good, man. Draft party on Thursday night was fun. Went to Sulphur to do some softball play-by-play over the weekend. Had a good weekend.
Was it the state championships?
It was.
That big complex over in Sulphur. That's one you got that one on me. I never did the state championships in softball, Mario.
Yeah, Frosh Park was a good venue, man. It was a challenge. First time I had done that kind of thing, but I had a lot of fun.
Jacob Beck, how was your weekend?
Oh, pretty good.
Okay.
Not
Did you call any softball?
No, I didn't.
So you're right. So you're behind. You're behind Mario. Lot to get to today. LSU baseball plus the draft. Was there enough draft information for you? We spent a lot of last week going through what we thought would happen. We got some of it right. We got a lot of it wrong, along with the rest of the prognosticators. The draft is a tough thing to pick once you get a few moves go the way nobody would expect them to, and it creates a little bit of a domino effect. But we did okay. We got I think it was 28 out of the 32 guys in the first round. We at least got the guys right. We missed with 4 of them. We even got about a half a dozen of them to the right teams. Imagine that. Tell you a little bit later what I thought of the Saints draft and what I thought of the draft in general. We start with LSU baseball with their second consecutive sweep in Southeastern Conference play. They beat a very pesky Alabama team this weekend, 8-6 in the opener, 12-8 in the Saturday game, 13-11 yesterday. Friends, it's time for you to come with some truths about this LSU baseball team. Okay, the type of games that you saw this weekend may very well be the type of games you see in the back end of a regional or especially a super regional in the postseason. I've been asked this a lot, because LSU's pitching, once you get past Skeens, is all over the place. Some of it's been really good. Sometimes it's been really good. Sometimes it's been really bad. We're playing really good defense earlier in the season. It has gotten away a little bit here in the last few weeks. They're not playing as good a defense. So, what do you think? Can they get to Omaha? And my answer has been like this: I will take Paul Skeens against any pitcher in America in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, in game 1 of a super regional, game 2 of a regional, game 1 of a super. I'll take him against anybody, and LSU will be the favorite there. And then the next 2 days, we're going to play home run derby. It's going to be warm weather. LSU is going to be at home, and they're going to have to win some games 12-8. They're going to have to win some games 13-11. That's just how I see it. When you get to Omaha, that may be more of a problem as teams are able to keep their frontline pitching, if you're in a winner's bracket, more in line because there's more days to those tournaments. But this is how LSU will win games. I'm convinced of it. And if they go, roll over Auburn or Georgia or, Mississippi State like an 18-wheel truck in the next couple of weeks, I'll say fantastic. But these are the type of games. Alex Milazzo had a great quote after the game yesterday. He said, "This is the best offensive team we've seen." That's a mouthful because they've played Arkansas, they've played Kentucky, they've played Tennessee. These are all top 10 preseason teams, and all teams. Tennessee's rallying right now. They got off to a tough start. Alabama's just as good. I saw nothing this weekend that would make me disagree with him. That's a very stout offensive club. We go back to last week when we gave you the numbers, and it gets lost because Alabama's overall record or their SEC record is not anything, anything great. But Alabama had some, pretty stout numbers, coming into the deal. They're in the top half of the league in on-base percentage. They had only four fewer home runs than LSU. So this was a very, very good offensive club. So the good, the bad, and the ugly. The good is obviously they swept the series. Again, we are in May. They haven't lost a series yet. So that's really good. Despite the dropped balls, the base running miscues, the occasional they stayed with this guy too long or didn't, go get this guy soon enough, they have won every series. They tied the one at South Carolina because they got rained out, but they've won every series. What I saw this weekend out of the pitching stat, so they scored a ton of runs, and great. But what we're really focused in on is the pitching. So a few things. Number one, they asked 4 different pitchers to go twice in one weekend. This is, in my opinion, this is Jay Johnson and Wes Johnson trying to prepare for the postseason and what they might see in a regional or a super regional. So Bryce Collins pitched on Friday and Sunday. Money, Ackerman, and Cooper, Ackenhausen, all pitched Saturday and Sunday. So how did they do? Collins, Friday night, got the guy out he was supposed to get out. Sunday, didn't get the guy out that he was supposed to get out. Money, good on Saturday, not good on Sunday. Ackenhausen, good on Saturday, not good on Sunday. Cooper, not good on Saturday, really good on Sunday. File all this information away when you got to use a guy on Friday in a regional and Sunday you need to bring him back. They're going to be doing this over the next few weeks. They don't have guys in the bullpen right now that you can say, I can go get that guy and he can give me 2 shutout innings. He might, but he might not. Thatcher Hurd, once again, very good in, a tight situation there in the 8th inning on Saturday. I thought that was one of the highlights of the weekend, off of a good performance in the midweek. We should really just they need Thatcher Hurd on one of the hot buttons, Mario. That way you can just play it and I don't have to keep repeating it. He threw a spotless inning in 2/3 with the game on the line on Saturday. It's a really, really big deal. On the other hand, Gavin Guidry only pitched once this weekend. We've seen him come in tight spots a couple of different times where he was in the 9th inning of games that LSU was clinging to a lead. He did not pitch well this weekend. Griffin Herring, the one guy going into the weekend, said, who's LSU's best bullpen guy? Probably Griffin Herring. Came in and he was really good, and they stayed with him a little bit longer than I thought they might. But again, they're trying to figure it out. I'll be honest with you, when Griffin Herring came in with a 6-run lead, I was a little bit like, man, don't you want to use somebody else? But they were trying to see if they could stretch him out again. All of these things are information gatherers for how they're going to handle this in the postseason. They don't have 3 starters that are all going to give them 6 innings apiece. They don't have a lockdown closer. They don't have somebody that right now you can go in the bullpen and say, that's my long guy. He can give me 3 innings in the middle of the game. No questions asked. They don't have any of that. What they've got is about 8 or 9 pitchers who are all capable on one day. Guys that we've seen come in tight spots and get the job done, and other times not. Makes it challenging for the coach, doesn't it? I mean, if this was easy, anybody could do it, right? What you do have, though, is an offense that can slug with anybody in the country, and especially here. But what's encouraging to me is they're getting it from other places than where you would expect right now. For instance, for the first half of the season, I don't think that Alex Milazzo had a dozen at-bats, but this weekend he went 3 for 6. Up until last weekend, we hadn't seen Hayden Travinski hit a ball over the fence, except he hit one over the fence that won him the game last Sunday at Ole Miss, and he hit another one in a game on Saturday here that got LSU out of a bind. We didn't see over the course of the season, a whole lot of Paxton Kling, but he hits a home run yesterday. So, you're getting a contribution from him. We didn't necessarily, see a ton of these guys all the way through, but you're seeing them make contributions. Every LSU championship team I have ever seen has had contributions from guys off the bench, guys that made a spot start somewhere. It's guys that had to come in, somebody else was injured. Dylan Cruz may be the best hitter that's ever come through here. He can't get 9 hits a game. Tommy White may be still leading the nation in runs batted in. He can't drive in 8 a game. You got to have the other guys. And Jared Jones hit another one to the bridge. And Gavin Dugas is battling through an injury. So, you're seeing them get him out of games a little bit earlier, trying to get him as rested and as healthy as they can be for the bullpen. But back-to-back sweeps is not an easy thing to do in the Southeastern Conference. And Jay Johnson talked about that after yesterday's game.
Super proud of the team, and if you look back at the last 2 weekends, 2 sweeps, and kind of done in different fashion, and that's a sign of a good team, and something we take pride in is being able to win any type of game that you're playing in, and they've done that here lately.
Again, it's getting it from guys that you might not expect. After you brought Riley Cooper in on Saturday, now Riley Cooper's ERA 6.5. All right, he's the guy they send out there when it's like, go out there, throw strikes, and you're not gonna, blow people away with your stuff. Just go out there and throw strikes, and let's see if we can eat up some innings. And they sent him out there on Saturday, and it didn't go well. So you send him out there on Sunday, and guess what? This guy comes up big for you. I know he gave up the blast in the 9th, but he was working with a 4-run lead. Riley Cooper after this was Johnson on Riley Cooper after the game.
This baseball's an unfair game. Like the pop-up just kind of dropped in. It just was a little too long a run for Ben or Paxton. And then, we had the drop pop-up there at the end, but he just persevered. And the reason he was in the game is because he's been in there so many times and has pitched with poise and composure. And I just was thinking of it, over the last 2.5 years between his freshman year at Arizona and 1.5 years here, I bet he's been a part of as many wins as any pitcher in the country in terms of games he's pitched in that his team's won. And you love that quality in a guy.
It's because he pitches every day, Jay. I guess he has been. If this guy pitched in the minor leagues, he would lead the International League in decisions. He pitches every day. But I wanted to really compliment him on what he did yesterday, because I think it's the hardest thing to do when a pitcher is trying to close out a game and he's got to get extra outs. Riley Cooper had to get 5 outs in the 9th yesterday. I mean, the pop-up down the right field line was just that's just kind of bad luck, but he's made the pitch he needs to get out of the inning. The ball that Jones dropped has to be caught 999 out of 1,000 times, but he dropped that one. You ever had to run a long distance? It's been a long time for me, but there was nothing more disheartening when the high school football coach says, "Okay, boys, start running." And you get to where you think, hey, he's going to make us run 5 laps today. You get to the end of 5 laps. What are you stopping for? Go around again. Riley Cooper twice yesterday. All right, I'm out of this. No, you're not. You got to go make another pitch. Thought it was pretty well done. LSU got some help over the weekend. South Carolina lost a couple of games, and they are now ahead of the Gamecocks. Man, Kentucky took a lead to the 9th yesterday with Vanderbilt, but couldn't hold on. So LSU finds themselves a half game out of first place in the SEC and first place in the SEC West by 2 games. Game and a half over Arkansas. Number 3 RPI in the nation. 5 of the top 6 teams in the RPIs are from the SEC. But for the first time this year, the number 1 team RPI-wise in the nation is not from the SEC. Wake Forest. Tom Walter, remember the old UNO coach? He's got a club over there. They're really, really good. They got a cool nickname, too. They're calling them Rake Forest. Look across the offensive numbers. They're very, very similar to LSU's if you want to know how well they're hitting. But the next 5 teams are all from the Southeastern Conference, and LSU owns wins over both Arkansas and Kentucky and a split with South Carolina. I told you this a week ago. I'll say it again. LSU's RPI is almost bulletproof. What you're doing in the next 3 weeks is you are preparing for the postseason. They may win the league. They may not win the league, but they'd almost have to lose out at this point not to be a top 8 national seed. So when you see them use 7 pitchers in a game, when you see them bring back 4 guys twice in a weekend, just know that they're preparing for what they're going to see in the postseason, because that's where everything matters. Take a break. NFL draft this weekend. Got a lot of thoughts on the Saints, plus the rest of the draft. We'll do that when we return. This is Hannytime, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
The best-kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Turn my music high, 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 yeah.
You don't know what you're doing.
Sure I do. I'm from the streets where the hood can swallow on me. Bullets will follow on me. There's so much that you could run the slalom. And cops comb this top to bottom. They say that we are prone to violence, but it's home sweet home. With personalities clashing, chrome meets chrome. Prices up and down like it's Wall Street.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $15,000 off all new 2022 1500 SCA trucks. And all new Bayou automotive vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood.
I hope you have an awesome weekend. Hunt Palmer Show back in action 1 to 3 on Monday, talking the NFL draft. Where do the Tigers go? And LSU Bama from the box. Hunt Palmer Show 1 to 3 weekdays, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hannytime with Charles Annegriff on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
NFL draft wrapped up on Saturday. You ever, if you watched a lot of the draft coverage, and I did, because like I said, I'm a draft nerd. Draft, LSU baseball, it soaked up most of my weekend. You ever notice how much the cliches on the NFL draft are just like on what used to be National Signing Day? We filled all our needs. We got all the players we targeted. The guys fit our scheme. I'm sorry. In college, they say the guys fit our scheme. In the NFL, they say they fit our culture. Okay, everybody runs the same stuff in the NFL. Those are for all of the guys that they got. In the NFL, you have to add one. It's we couldn't believe fill in the blank was still available at fill in the blank. Getting the press guy. What did you like about fill in the blank? Fill in the blank was the highest rated player on our board. Just once I'd like to be in one of these things and say, hey, coach, when did y'all not take the highest rated guy on the board? Just once I'd like to say, we had this guy. We think he's way better, but we're going to take the guy that's not as good as him. Oh, but it filled the need. I know. We took the best player available. Sound strategy. What I miss about the NFL draft is they never talk about the guys that they didn't get publicly. Privately, we get all of this stuff on National Signing Day when you don't get the guy. They'll always say, well, it's not the guys that you don't get. It's the ones that you get that can't play that hurt you. No, it's the ones that you don't get sometimes. When the All-American guy is playing for the other team and that, is from out of your state, when Travis Minor's playing for Florida State and, they make the national championship game, those things hurt. We never offered that player. We didn't want him. This is code for he never considered us. And then the one we had to retire on National Signing Day. I'm really going to miss this one in the era of NIL. The other school bought him. They just bought him. They're still buying him, but now it's legal. So those are some of the things we got from the draft. If you watched the Saints draft grades from all of the experts, you probably weren't blown away. Most of the grades were kind of in the middle towards the bottom. I think Kuiper had them second or third to last. There's reasons for that. It means that the Saints board didn't match the experts board. When the experts give you the draft nicks and all that, when they give you draft grades, they are grading off of their board. Well, they didn't get great value. They didn't get great value off of your board. They got great draft value off of their board. And sometimes they're right, and sometimes the experts are right. There were no big names for the Saints in this draft. There was no big move up the draft board or no big trade that that came down the pike in the first. No trades at all, actually, that came down in the first 2 days. And then there were no guys that the Saints took on the first 2 days of the draft that you would say really dropped. Those are the things that give you the big draft. Like Philadelphia is getting all kinds of love for getting Jalen Carter at 9 because a lot of the experts had him at number 1. We understand why he dropped. So he got great value. And I think and with Nolan Smith later in the day. So Philadelphia's got a big grade. There's nobody on the Saints board that really fit that. Brian Brzee was supposed to be drafted about where he was drafted. And I told you on Friday, I like him. I think there's some upside there. He's a big physical player. I think there's the potential that he could become an above average pass rusher. His personal story is compelling. So he's obviously overcome a lot off the field. I'm nervous about the fact that he was somewhat injury prone at one point in his Clemson career, but the player looks like a very productive player at a position that they needed. Isaiah Foskey was from Notre Dame, who they took in the second round, was a player that we did not talk at all about, and sometimes that happened. And all I saw all weekend from the draft nicks guys was, this is kind of a reach. We didn't have him rated this high. And I have to ask why. Isaiah Foskey was a very high production player at Notre Dame. His last 2 seasons, 12.5 tackles for loss and 11 sacks in 2021 and 6 forced fumbles. This is for an up-front guy. 2022, 14 tackles for losses and 11 sacks. He also had 4 career block punts. He's 6'5". He's 265 pounds, so he's not undersized. He's a 4.58 guy in the 40, so he's not slow. He's got long arms, and Here's a first. Hadn't been injured. Plays all the time. I'm very big on that these days. Guys that actually play, I'm very, very big on that. I know there's some knocks on him about, how he comes from out wide and he can sometimes lose containment, and he's probably not the best run stuffer that you've ever seen on the edge. You're setting the edge, but this is a guy that can get after the passer, high production guy. There's not a lot that I don't like about what I've seen from him. They have been trying to draft a pass rusher for 3 years now. No, 4 years. They gave up the farm for Davenport. He couldn't stay on the field. They used a first-round pick on Peyton Turner. He couldn't stay on the field. This guy stays on the field. Let's hope that continues. Kendre Miller from TCU. Now, here I get why this back dropped into the third round. He was a big production guy at TCU. Over 2,000 yards rushing his last 2 years, 24 touchdowns over that time span. He is the right size. He's 5'11". He's 215 pounds. He's durable. He missed the national championship game, but that's the only game that he missed last year. The year before that, he played in 10 games. He's just not explosive. You watch him run, and there's nothing wrong with his frontline speed. He's okay, but he's no burner, and he just doesn't explode through the hole. And he hardly caught the ball at all. If Sean Payton were still a coach of the Saints, I don't think they would have drafted this guy because he's just not involved in the passing game. He caught 16 balls in 14 games last year. But the offense is evolving. This is not Sean Payton's offense anymore. And he doesn't have to catch a ton of balls to still be a productive player for the Saints. But that's why he dropped to where he is. Nick Saldiveri from Old Dominion, 6'6", 318 pounds, 36 career starts. All of these guys that the Saints drafted were highly, highly productive guys in college. They didn't take players that have a lot of upside but didn't play a lot of football in college. Like, this guy only like the Saints would have never taken Anthony Richardson. If the Saints had the first pick in the draft and they had the 10th pick in the draft and he'd still been there, they would have never taken Anthony Richardson. That's just not how this group sees the draft. They want guys that put up a lot of numbers, played a lot of football in college, and I got no problem with that philosophy. Saldiveri, very athletic guy, played mostly tackle, but is probably going to move inside to guard. He's not a mauler, but he's got pretty good feet. He does strike me as having some Andrus Peat characteristics. He is, primarily a tackle in college, but not quite athletic enough to play out there full-time in the pros. Probably will slide down and play some guard, probably play in Pete's spot in 2024, and then he can fill in a tackle in a pinch. That's what Pete has been for most of his career. Scouts didn't love his hands. Didn't think he, sometimes he could miss in pass protection. That problem is mitigated a little bit when you slide him inside the guard. I think not only is he going to make the team, I think he's probably going to play a little bit next year. The Saints are notorious for having offensive line injuries, so I suspect that he will fill a very necessary spot in the two deeps. Jake Haener might have been my favorite pick, the quarterback from Fresno State. 6 foot. I saw him listed everywhere from 5'10" 3/4 to 6'1" over the weekend, depending on what service you looked at. I'm just going to call him 6 foot, 210 pounds. He was the MVP at the Senior Bowl. So our guys down there absolutely loved him. He was a team captain. They love the way he gets the ball out quick. He processes information. He, goes through his progressions. He's 24 years old. A lot of people thought he would come out last year because of his age. Came back for another year at Fresno State. 24 years old. Highly productive guy. 3-year starter there. 53 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. So all that's good. He's smaller, obviously. He's not a huge guy. Has an adequate arm, but by no means a big-time NFL arm. Let me caution you on this because it just drives me crazy, all right? He's 6 foot tall. He's 210 pounds. He wears number 9. He's very accurate. He gets the ball out quickly. He is not Drew Brees. He is not Drew Brees on his best day. He is not going to become Drew Brees. He is not going to throw for 80,000 yards in the NFL. He may be a starting quarterback one day. He may be a very good starting quarterback one day. He is not Drew Brees. How do you know he's not going to become Drew Brees? Because I know. Yes, I'm just that good. He's not going to be Drew Brees. First thing is, he's not as athletic as Brees. For Brees' size, Brees was an exceptional athlete. He was a champion junior tennis player. He could dunk a basketball. Okay. Yeah. Every year the Saints would go play softball at Zephyr Field for that charity, and Brees would hit ball after ball out of the park. Okay. This guy's not a great athlete. Okay. Very good football player, but he is nowhere near the athlete that Drew Brees was. Okay. 6-foot white guy. He's not a good athlete. Brees was. Okay. Hayner's not. All 6-foot white point guards are not John Stockton. Okay. There's a difference. If Hayner becomes a starter, I'll be over the moon. Think more like Brock Purdy, okay? It's a little bit smaller than Purdy, but not much. Purdy and Hayner have a lot. Purdy's not a great athlete either, okay? But he was very good at processing information. He's very good at getting the ball out. He had enough arm. He doesn't have the monster arm. He just knows how to play the position. So think Brock Purdy. In the 4th round, this guy's perfect. If it works out, this is your lottery ticket, okay? This guy works out, it's fantastic. He becomes the next Brock Purdy. He's, ends up having to start games somewhere down the line for you. I don't care that he's 24 years old. I actually like that he's 24 years old. Maybe in 3 years he'll be the starter. Well, then you got to re-sign him again. Yeah, but then you don't have to go trade up in the draft and give away 8 first-round draft choices. You don't have to go, pluck over what's left in free agency. So Hayner is a very nice player to go in there with to say, this is our 3rd quarterback. Next year, he might be our 2nd quarterback. 3 years from now, he might be our 1st quarterback. And if he's not, it was a 4th-round pick. Love the pick of Hayner. Jordan Howden, safety from Minnesota, played a lot of football in college at 49 career starts. Just not a ton of production. This is why he dropped as far as he did. Yeah, he'll come up and hit you in the run game, but in coverage, he lacks good ball skills. For 49 career starts, I think you were talking about 10 pass breakups and 3 or 4 interceptions over the last 2 years. So maybe a special teams guy. I don't think he's a lock to make the team. A.T. Perry from Wake Forest, very easy. This is a high-risk, high-reward pick. Very productive at the college level. Caught 150 balls for 2,300-plus yards over his last 2 seasons. 26 touchdowns. That's a lot for Wake Forest. I mean, that's a lot of catches. It's a lot of yards, a lot of touchdowns. And he's 6'3", he's 200 pounds, and he's a 4'4" guy. Why the hell is this guy in the 6th round? He caught that many touchdown passes. He's big. He's not too skinny. He runs real fast. He played in a Power 5 conference. What's he doing in the 6th round? He drops a lot of balls. A lot of balls. So if they can fix that, is that a fixable thing? If they can fix that, then you've really got something. So a good guy to take a flyer on. All in all, not a sexy draft for the Saints, but one that I liked. It's unusual. Usually the experts like the Saints draft, and I'm like, man, I didn't like this pick. They reached on this guy to get. They took a lot of guys that did a lot of good things in college. They just took a lot of good football players. Not sexy, not flashy. Solid, though, I think. Very solid. We'll take a break, come back, tell you what the LSU guys did in the draft. I've got some other thoughts about some of the things that happened overall in the NFL draft. This is Hannytime, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hannytime.
Monday at Big Mike's means all-you-can-eat boiled shrimp. Starting at 5 o'clock today until close, all-you-can-eat boiled shrimp. Big Mike's available for your private get-togethers. They've got multiple size party rooms. So if you want something that's in just a regular room, like, for 10, 12, 15 people, maybe a graduation party, maybe a birthday party, they can do that for you. If you want to get into the big room where, maybe you got 30 or 40 people, they can do those things for you as well. If you're having something at your home, Big Mike's offsite catering is available. Again, it's May, it's graduation month. You want to get some food, let them do that for you. Happy hour 3 to 7 Monday through Friday, and all day on Sunday from 11 until 7. You get out, watch the sports on the 40 TVs, get you a good cocktail, and watch the baseball, the basketball, the golf, the NASCAR, all those things at Big Mike's. Daily lunch specials available for you and live music on the weekends. Big Mike's on Aspen and Denham Springs. We're kind of a big deal.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com. Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, Hannytime, Hunt Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
The world's leaders in obesity research, obesity medicine, and obesity science are right here.
We're doing something that no one's ever done, or trying to answer a question that no one's ever asked before.
Pennington is a real jewel when it comes to research.
We are finding the solutions to the world's worst chronic disease, which is obesity. Louisiana needs Pennington Biomedical.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's that time again. It's heating up. Your boat's getting ready to come out and spend all summer on the water. It's time to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service, where if you want an incredible custom speaker install, it's going to blow people away in the water, that's there for you. You want an HD sonar where you can see the fish under the water before you cast, beat all your friends, that's there for you at front-to-back boat service. So don't put it off. We got the parts in right now. Get them now before they go back on back order. Front-to-back boat service.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event.
Moscona invited you to join us for Monday's AFR, presented by Relief Windows. We'll recap the NFL draft, and we'll take a look at the LSU Bama baseball series. Join us for Monday's AFR, 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hannytime with Charles Hannegriff on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Might have noticed one other thing about the Saints draft was that they did not draft a tight end in a very deep tight end draft, and they also traded away Adam Troutman, who was a colossal disappointment in his time in New Orleans. It does set them a little bit back. Juwan Johnson obviously had a really terrific year. They signed him to a contract extension, and you do have Taysom Hill there. They signed a rookie free agent as well, but there are veteran tight ends on the market, guys that can be had for somewhere in the vicinity of the league minimum for veterans. I'll give you 4 names. I'm not going to go overboard with this. They could always make a trade with somebody in training camp. They've done those things before to add veterans. They could wait until cut down day. But Cameron Brate, who has started 35 games in the NFL, 31 years old, is still out on the market. He's got 273 career catches and 33 touchdowns, played for Tampa Bay for a long time. Dan Arnold, who played for Jacksonville last year, was a player the Saints drafted back in 2017, 58 games played. He is a free agent right now. Kyle Rudolph, who played most of his career in Minnesota, was in Tampa last year. 145 career starts. He is out there. And if you really want to, man, you want experience? Can I give you experience? Mercedes Lewis is still out there, man. He was a first-round draft pick 17 years ago. 38-year-old Mercedes Lewis, who started 15 games in Green Bay last year, is still out on the market. They'll find a veteran tight end. I'm not overly concerned about it. If they had found one that they like, if Michael Mayer had gone down 4 more picks, was it 4 more picks, 5 more picks, 35, 36, wherever he went, I would take that guy. Didn't work out. They'll find a veteran. I'm not overly concerned. How did the LSU guys do in the draft? 6 Tigers were taken yesterday. B.J. Ojulari went in the second round, number 41 overall, to Arizona. That's almost right the center of the bullseye for where most people had him going, was the early to mid part of the second round. I think this is a really good spot for Ojulari. Arizona lost both. Well, J.J. Watt retired, okay? So they're looking for pass rushers. They lost their other starter on the defensive line as well. But the other thing about Arizona is they are in a major rebuild. And so they're going to give the younger players more time, is why I'm bringing this up for Ojulari. Not that you're going to cut a second-round pick, but I think he's going to be given some time there to develop. Arizona moved from 3 down to 12 in the draft to allow Houston to take Will Anderson, and then they bump back up to take Paris Johnson. They're going to be without Kyler Murray for at least part of this season, so that's the first thing. But the amount of draft capital that they have, next year they have their first-round pick and Houston's first-round pick. They could have the first 2 picks in next year's draft. And if they still don't think they need a quarterback, can you imagine what you can get for the first-round pick that's going to be Caleb Williams? And the second pick in the draft is going to be Drake May, or you flip-flop those 2. There'll be quarterback desperate teams next year. Houston and Arizona could end up with the 2 worst records in the league next year. Anyway, so a lot of time for Ojulari in Arizona. Anthony Bradford went to Seattle with the 108th pick early in the 4th round. I thought Bradford had a good chance to squeeze into the later part of the 3rd round. He went just a little bit behind that. Another former LSU guard, Damian Lewis, has been a starter up there in Seattle. Bradford could push for playing time as a rookie. Jay Ward went in the 4th round to Minnesota, and so did Jaquil and Roy. They went within 7 picks of each other. So this is a little bit earlier than I thought that Ward would go. I thought Ward would be closer to a 6th or 7th round pick, or even a free agent. I was hoping that Roy would go to a team that played a little bit different scheme. He was considered too small to play a nose tackle, but I thought he might get into the 3rd or 4th round. So both of those guys going to Minnesota, you immediately look back and you're like, hey, guess what? You got a friendly face over there. The LSU defensive coordinator at Durante Jones, defensive backs coach there. So obviously put in a good word for both of those guys. So happy for Ward. He went ahead of where I thought he would. Roy, maybe a little bit behind where I thought he would go. Kayshon Boutte, the 187th pick in the draft by New England. It was, a year ago maybe 2 years ago, I guess now, a year and a half ago, Keishon Butte was on his way to being a first-round pick. And then the injury, I think, is still the biggest thing that is in play here. The off-the-field stuff didn't help him, but I still think that the biggest thing is he just was simply not the explosive player that he was before the injury. You know, it wasn't that the injury kept him off the field last year. It was that when he played, he wasn't that good. He didn't have the explosion coming out of his cuts that we saw when he was a freshman. He didn't separate from people the way he did when he was a freshman. Whether all of that will come back or not, I don't know. I almost wonder if he might have gone higher if he hadn't played last year. They said, well, as soon as he comes back from the injury, he's going to be that guy again. Well, he came back. He played. He wasn't that. He may get it back. Maybe it's a 2-year injury for him because he had multiple surgeries. But that's why he dropped. What he ran at the combine, what he looked like during the season, he no longer looked like the player that he was as a freshman. Jack Bernard-Converse went in the 6th round to the Jets. I think they got a steal there. I think the kid, I like a lot about his game. He's versatile. He's long. He's athletic. Is he a lockdown corner in the NFL? No. But can he go in there and help a team on special teams right away and make a team and do some different things for you? Yeah, I like him a lot. So I think the Jets got a good one there. Unsigned or undrafted LSU players that signed as free agents. Ali Gay signed as a rookie free agent with the Texans, and Mike Jones signed with the Atlanta Falcons. What do these two guys have in common? There were times where they were both looked at as first-round picks by, whoever. Jones, when he transferred from Clemson, I remember saying, hey, man, this is a first-round draft pick. And we're like, how come the first-round draft pick couldn't get on the field as much at Clemson? And then we found out there were holes in his game. Wasn't a bad player, but there were holes in his game. Ali Gay, I'll be honest, guilty as charged. Sat right here in this seat the first game I watched Ali Gay play against Mississippi State. Remember that nightmare game for LSU secondary? I sat here and went, man, this guy looks like a first-round pick. Look at the frame. Look at the explosion. Look at the get-off, man. This guy ain't going to be a one-and-done at LSU. I was wrong. The production just never followed there. I still think he's got some upside, but the production just never followed. So that's two guys that at one point, at least somebody said, that guy's going to be a first-round pick. They didn't get drafted at all. That's how volatile this stuff is. Jeray Jenkins signed with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Micah Baskerville signed with the Bears. Colby Richardson signed with Carolina. And Mekhi Gardner signed with Philadelphia. That's the rest of the draft class. What are some of the other things that it caught my obviously, Will Levis moving down into the second round was something that caught a lot of people's attention. Will Levis going to Tennessee will probably end up being the starter there in 2024, if not before that. Ryan Tannehill is on his last legs in Tennessee. There is talk that they could, if Will Levis shows out in camp, that they could cut Ryan Tannehill before the season opener. I don't necessarily buy that because their other quarterback is Malik Willis, who looked awful when they put him in last year. So I don't think Tennessee's going to cut Tannehill, but I do think that this is his last year with the team, and Levis is going to be given every opportunity to get in there. Stetson Bennett going in the 4th round was one of the bigger surprises to me. I thought late or not at all. But you know what? Stetson Bennett is just continuing to defy dopes like me that just say, man, I feel like the guy in Rudy. You don't belong here. And he just keeps, no way the law firm of Stetson Bennett is going to quarterback a national champion. He did. Well, you know what? That guy should just go off on the rubber chicken circuit in Athens, Georgia for the rest of his life. There's no reason for him to come back and play another season. Why tarnish it? Just go out on a high note. Nope, guy went back, did it again. There's no way in the world Stetson Bennett is going to get drafted high. No team would put their eggs in that basket in the NFL. Nope, there he is in the 4th round. One pick behind Jake Haener. If the Saints had taken Bennett and the Rams had taken Haener, I'd have been steamed. Okay? And here's the other thing. He is slated right now to be the Rams' backup quarterback next year. The Rams' starting quarterback is Matthew Stafford, who's 119 years old. Stetson Bennett is going to start a game in the NFL for the Los Angeles Rams next year. Put that in the blue book. He may start more than one game because if he shows out in training camp, the word out of Los Angeles is they're not bringing in a veteran backup. They are ready to go with Stetson Bennett as their number one backup quarterback. And you know the Stafford's going to get hurt. If you'd have told me 3 years ago, I'll bet you that one day Stetson Bennett starts a game in the NFL, I would have said, here's my house. Here's my money because there's no way I'm losing that bet. And I would have lost that bet. Stetson Bennett is going to start at least one game next year in the NFL. We'll take a break, take some of your questions when we come back. This is Hannytime, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hannytime.
Infinity of Baton Rouge, buying your vehicles right off the street right now. 15 minutes is all it takes to get a quote on your vehicle. They'll buy it for cash. You can trade it in on another vehicle, or you can just walk with the information. There is no pressure to buy. Can't recommend the certified pre-owned program enough. We were back there to buy another vehicle just a couple of months ago. 1 year of prepaid maintenance, courtesy car when you bring your vehicle in for service. And you know what? That roadside assistance is a wonderful thing to keep your mind at ease. If you are, graduation's coming up, you're buying a vehicle for, a graduate here, that roadside assistance coming with the package is invaluable. Transparency in pricing, they're going to treat you like family. That's why we keep going back time and time again to Acura and Infinity of Baton Rouge.
Our listeners fire up their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's that time again. It's heating up. Your boat's getting ready to come out and spend all summer on the water. It's time to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service, where if you want an incredible custom speaker install, it's going to blow people away in the water, that's there for you. You want an HD sonar where you can see the fish under the water before you cast, beat all your friends, that's there for you at front-to-back boat service. So don't put it off. We got the parts in right now. Get them now before they go back on back order. Front-to-back boat service.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust poll of the day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, Hannytime, Hunt Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the poll of the day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
All right, let's say ah.
Where'd my spotlight go?
Super weird, but we can take care of it.
Get in and get better at Patient Plus.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
Monday edition of Game Time, 6 to 8 p.m. from Walk-Ons. It's Game Time, 6 to 8 p.m. Monday on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hannytime with Charles Hannegriff on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Latavius Murray on the move again. He signed a 1-year deal with the Buffalo Bills. Latavius Murray's birthday is this Friday. He turns 97 years old. I'm kidding. Latavius Murray's still a really good back, even though he is 33 years old. Afternoon baseball, Braves lead the Mets 6-1, and that will do it for us. Stay tuned. Thanks, everybody, for participating. For Jake and Mario, I'm Charles Hannegriff saying thank you and good afternoon. Stay tuned for Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust poll of the day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, Hannytime, Hunt Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the poll of the day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
Hey, it's Matt Musso. Join me Monday through Friday for your daily update on LSU baseball with Musso at the Box, presented by New Orleans Flooring. Wherever you get your podcast, Apple, Spotify, Google, and check out New Orleans Flooring. 2 locations, Metairie and Prairieville or NOLAFlooring.com.
Hello, Samantha, dear, I hope you're feeling fine. And it won't be long until I'm with you all the time. But until